Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Wolf, Nara here, back to bring you another discussion type video. Today we're going to be talking about the common misconception of the Doctor role in One Piece. So before we get started, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, okay, about the channel, you feel me? But anyway, let's get started with the video.
Who really a factor? I done grew up as a bastard, stepped out the wound into a disaster. Designing drugs and guns on my city after, pray for the lackers. Cause it only get worse and they try to blame it on the rappers, label us factors. My rappy told me sign an affidavit, like my life and my family ain't matter. Do you know how I feel to get served to the court on the platter? That shit that happened. Lose your life fell soon like the months in the wound that your mama went through never happened. Seeing another lady, your baby was killed every summer, that shit like a pattern.
Wealth, fame, power, nigga. These are none of the qualities you want to look for when you're looking for a doctor for your crew. You should look for someone who is flexible in terms of analyzing different drugs and symptoms. You should want someone who's passionate about their particular field, and also someone who has an extensive knowledge in regards to chemistry, biology, and genetics as well. So when analyzing different crews in One Piece, a doctor is typically not going to be a top 3 in regards to a fighter in the crew. And so first we're going to talk about the outlier in this situation. We're going to talk about Crocus. Now with Crocus is one of the pirates who was on the final voyage with Roger. He was also considered one of the only doctors who was able to halt Roger's disease, and however he wasn't able to cure him. Crocus pretty much had access to most of the medicinal herbs throughout the world of One Piece because he sailed around the entire Grand Line. So he pretty much had access to whatever plants was on whatever island Roger visited or at that previous point in time. And so also Crocus, he's not necessarily considered the right or left hand man to Roger. That was Rayleigh and Scabba's job. And so yeah, he's not really considered a top 3 member either. So a doctor being super duper strong, not it. I'm just saying, so far his skill came from him literally being able to halt Roger's disease, not necessarily from his strength. Now let's compare accessibility and rarity in the One Piece world, because in the East Blue specifically, devil fruits are regarded as legends and myths and pretty much a super rarity if someone were to get their hands on it. As we see later on in the Grand Line and in the New World, devil fruits are reigning supreme. Niggas are just popping devil fruits like these kids is popping these pills. But that's another here less. But devil fruits itself is just one of the many resources available in One Piece. Like, for example, how the world government uses the specific material for Wano. I can't think of it right now. My brain is hurting. Okay, I can't think of it right now. Sea Prism Stone, bingo. And how the world government uses the Sea Prism Stone to affect devil fruit users, but they only have so much of it, while in the Wano it's in abundance. And so that's another thing. So you also have to keep in mind with medicine as well, people who have access to different parts of the world itself would have more access to curing different diseases because they have access to rarer, quote unquote, that could be considered rare in one part of the world but not as rare in another part of the world. You also have to keep that in mind as well. So now let's talk about the Ishii 20, or also known as the Ishii 100 now, because they added 80 more doctors, but we'll also get into the new 80 doctors for them later. But right now, the former Ishii 20, they was part of the Wappo Pirates. They sailed across the Grand Line as well. And the reason I say that is because Wappo, he's made it to Merijuas. Okay, so initially he's able to at least navigate up until that point in the Grand Line safely without suffering from any illnesses, which means the doctors did their job and they have access to the medicines up until the Grand Line. Okay, so now if Merijuas have like any specific medicine that's only set or can be only found there, then that's a different situation, but their knowledge only goes up to Merijuas in the location of the world of One Piece. They're not even combat doctors. They're just specific doctors that specify in their field, and it's 20 of them. They're gonna jump you. So you feel me? So that's one thing about those that I definitely want to talk about. Now the other 80, there was experiment performed, not necessarily in One Piece, but in the real world, that shows how messages can differ when it carries from one person to another. And so with the additional 80 doctors, they won't be as competent as the 20, because the initial process of the way that they learn things, some information will be forgotten. They have the opportunity to surpass the bias of the way that the information is relayed and how it loses its initial message. They may be not as competent as the 20 that taught them, and even then those 20 may not be as competent as the person who taught them. Now I also want to talk about Dr. Hiryuk. Dr. Hiryuk, although he was a trash ass doctor, man, it was garbage, he did have the compassion but older one to definitely express what it takes to be a doctor, from understanding that Chopper was no longer wanted by animal or human, to making him his son, to teaching Chopper the way of medicine through trial and error. And also when he heard the entire town was sick, including the doctors, he came to help. And those are some of the at least qualities that Oda wanted to make sure that he put into his story in regards to the doctor role. So I gotta put my boy Hiryuk in there, okay? Got to, okay? Now, let's transition from speaking on Dr. Hiryuk to talking about Dr. Kiriha. As you can see, I mean, I probably butchered the name. Hey, don't at me, okay? Now, with Dr. Kiriha, some people speculate that she was part of the Rocks Pirates. I think Townsy brought it to my attention. It's not something that he said he believed in himself, quote unquote, but it's just more of something he brought to my attention. And so let's say she is, for example, one of the people who was part of the Rocks. She was like the doctor for the Rocks crew, in which it kind of goes with her demeanor of like throwing shit at everybody, because there was a lot of infighting. Maybe that's just her personality. She does have extensive knowledge on medicine, which goes past the knowledge of what Drum Kingdom has access to. So maybe she did at one point, if we're correlating access to the world to knowledge in medicine, that she did have access to more seeds than the typical doctor, which gives her the knowledge. We never really got an origin story for Dr. Kiriha, so she may not initially be from Drum Island either. So that's just one of the things I kind of want to put into perspective as well. She also has the heart of gold as well. She may talk her shit. She may do what she get. You know what I'm saying? She may throw knives and pots and pans and whatever else she can get her hands on. But she did teach Chopper properly. Took him in as her quote-unquote apprentice, but she does treat him like a son as well. So that's one of the top tier doctors, because she has the knowledge and the compassion, not necessarily the strength. Now I want to transition over into actually talking about Chopper, the reindeer that everyone loves, nigga, because all you niggas can't seem to keep his goddamn name out your mouth, nigga. You niggas steady slandering this nigga. So let me prove to you guys that he also has what it takes to be one of the top tier doctors, and he also has what it takes to qualify for each and every individual field of being a doctor as well. Now, with the correlation of having access to rare herbs and also having access to different types of medicine because of where you're positioned in the world. For example, in the New World of Grand Line, we did make that correlation earlier. Chopper does have access to all of that medicine. He has access to the herbs that's available. Typically, when they first land the island, Chopper is the one who's trying to collect different herbs. He's typically seen like reading a book while he's trying to collect the herbs as well. Or he's in a town collecting medicine for the crew's current voyage, so that way they have enough medicine to take care of everybody. And if you notice, during the fights, he never really runs out of medicine. He's able to take care of every person on the crew individually, no matter what bones are broken, no matter what injuries are pretty much being presented. However, there was 2 times Chopper did fail as a doctor. The first time is when he was studying under Dr. Hiryuk, when my boy killed the doctor, okay? My boy killed the doctor, okay? He killed him, okay? He gave him the poisonous mushroom, but this was way before he was competent, way before he was taught by Dr. Kiriha about the different poisonous plants and things of that nature. He thought that just because of the fact that the book showed it had skulls and bones, it meant that he was able to assist it because Dr. Hiryu pretty much showed that or represented that skulls and crossbones was a good thing, and so he took that to heart, and it was just a misconception with that. That was one issue, and then the second issue was with the kids on Punk Hazard. He wasn't really able to cure their hunger pains or addiction to the candy or the gigantification as well, but however he was able to care for them during that time to make sure that they were situated. He did everything that he could for his patients at that time, which is one of the things that Oda did stress, is that his companions forever even seen during the fight with Commodore, in which Chopper was more concerned about his friends rather than himself, which is another qualifying factor for a great doctor. He also developed a modification to his devil fruit, because once you eat a devil fruit, essentially you become that fruit genetically or biologically, I should say, in which he was able to cultivate a drug that allowed him to tamper with the supposed 3 forms, allow him to get, if I'm not mistaken, up into I think 6 or 7 forms. However, he did need a second-rate doctor like Cesar. I'm only calling him second-rate, comparing him to Vegapunk, but a second-rate doctor like Cesar to help him produce a better version of that drug at a quicker rate than what he was. But Caesar's not a doctor; he's a scientist. So it's different dynamics. So you have different people who are set for different roles on the crew, in which a doctor is not necessarily regarded as the most combative, important role. He's more there just as a support. He's there to cause for make sure everyone gets back alive. Chopper is also a fucking genius. He was able to produce a Queen's the Plague antivirus to his Snow Demon virus. He was able to produce the antivirus to that. It first was produced into a liquid form, in which he then converted into a gaseous form, so that way it was able to spread apart and cause instant relief for those who was affected by Queen's virus quickly, rather than mass produce it, which would take a lot longer. So he's also efficient and able to analyze the different situations as well. So not saying that he's the best doctor in the series or anything like that. Maybe Dr. Kurihara probably still has it, but he does have what it takes to make to be one of the top tier doctors. We're not gonna talk about the doctor on Blackbeard. Screw that nigga, got AIDS, that nigga trash, okay? We're not gonna talk about that nigga. But Chopper, okay, he has what it takes to be a top tier doctor, even if he's not one now. And also to drive the point home that strength does not mean nothing when it comes to the roles on a crew, depending on what you have to do. For example, being the Lastly, let's talk about Marco and Law. I'm fitting these guys together because they both have super rare devil fruits that allow them to pretty much optimize their positions as being doctors. Thus Marco being first commander and Law being the captain of his own crew. Marco was essentially leader of the Neo Whitebeard Pirates as well, so he was technically a captain at one point as well. But being able to use your patient's stamina in order to heal them kind of is OP. You got Man Charity, who used her tears to temporarily heal people, and Jess Rosa, and then like Law Opie No Me, which allows him to pretty much perform surgery on anyone within his surgical room, and also now being able to bypass the defense of a Yonko. So these two in particular are super rare devil fruits in people who so happen to be doctors, literally. So we are going to have to bring those into account as well. Not saying that strength is the only thing that matters in regards to being a doctor for a pirate crew. However, these two guys, like Crocus, are the X factors. They are the special cases in regards to the doctors. I'm just talking about typical doctors, because even eventually I feel that Chopper is going to be able to surpass Law and Marco in regards to doctor feats, even if he doesn't pass them in strength feats. Anyway, it's been your boy Wolf Nara. Like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. It's no more doctor misconceptions, nigga. As long as you care the people, you care for the people, and you also progress yourself, you are considered a good doctor versus a nigga who just gonna be beating niggas' asses, dog. Come on now, how the fuck is you causing more injuries than help? But anyways, been the commander of the Cosmic Armada, Wolf Nara here. Like, comment, subscribe. Pull up to the Discord, pull up to the Twitch stream, and follow me on Twitter. I'm out.
They know why I'm throwing up L's. As long as I'm alive, they won't forget you. Take me to them days when no took them gang, thinking like, damn, I remember.